Hey there, everyone. I'm Richard, and this is Cowboy Survival. I want to welcome you back to the channel. If this is your first time at the channel, we're certainly glad you're here. Hopefully, you'll find something on this channel you like. If you want to see all the videos, the best way to find them is to subscribe to the channel, and then you can see all the videos we've been doing over the last few years. Hey, look, today we're going to take a look at my mini fire kit. This is my minimalist fire kit that I keep in the truck. It's something I can just grab, I can just stick in my vest pocket and run with it. It's not real fancy, but I think everyone should have a mini fire kit available to them that they can just grab and go with. So let's take a look and see what I've got inside mine. So before we actually look at what's in the bag, let's talk about what I use for my mini fire kit. So what I've got is I've got here a canvas drawstring bag. It's real tiny. Now I got this at Hobby Lobby. You can buy these. They come in a pack of 3, and I think about $2.50 or something like that. They're really cheap, and they're really nice. You can use them for a lot of things. I put things like this. I've got a sewing kit in one of them. I use this one for a fire kit. You can find all kinds of different uses for them, but they're really nice little items to have. So I keep my mini fire kit in this. You could possibly reduce this even smaller and perhaps end up putting it in an Altoids tin, but I've got so many things in Altoids tins now, I'm beginning to forget which Altoid tin has which stuff in it. So I can see this and I know immediately that's my mini fire kit. So let's see what's inside the bag. So the first thing that's inside this bag is going to be my first ignition source, and that is going to be my BIC lighter. Now, I think everybody should have a BIC lighter in their bag. I think that it's absolutely necessary as a fire source. These are great, they're cheap, they're inexpensive, and they work. You simply take them and you flick them and you get a nice flame. Now, I also have, now you can get, by the way, you can get this big one, the full size, or you can get the minis. Now, I have found that recently the minis are a lot harder to find in the stores. I found one grocery store in town that has a display where you can buy them one at a time. They don't have any in value packs where you can buy 3 or 4 or 5 at a time. But individually, they're about $1.25 at the grocery store where I buy them. So you can get the mini ones, but you can't find them in the value packs the way you can the large ones. You'll also notice I've got duct tape wrapped around this. Primarily, the duct tape is there as a tool to repair something. Some people will tell you that this duct tape is a really great fire starter. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think that this stuff is not a great fire starter, and let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to take a bunch of this stuff and I'm just going to ball it up, and then we're going to try to light it. Now I'm going to also take this and I'm going to put it on this stick. Now the reason I'm going to put it on the stick is because you have to watch this stuff when you use it. The glue on this, when you light this, and it will light, but the glue will start to melt. And if this thing is on your fingers and that glue gets on, if you're trying to hold this with your hand and the glue gets on your fingers, it's going to give you a 2nd-degree burn blister. I got one recently, in fact, just for that very reason. You want to put it on the end of a stick so that it's not going to risk getting on your fingers, because once that stuff gets on there, it's hard to get it off. So this stuff lights. It doesn't light real easily, but it does light. And you can see it's burning, and it will burn. But like I said, that glue will melt. Now see, that thing fell off. See, here's the other problem. The second this thing hits the ground, it tends to go out. Now, you see how the glue is? That's why I don't think this is a really great fire starter. It'll burn, but I don't think it burns particularly well or particularly long. But definitely don't try to touch that with your fingers, any part of it, because as it heats up, that glue melts and will stick to your fingers. So the second ignition source that I have in this fire kit is my Ferro Rod. This Ferro Rod is a really good one. I like it. I can't remember where I got it. But find you a good Ferro Rod that strikes really nicely. This one strikes really well and gives off really nice sparks. The striker is pretty good. It's got a nice long lanyard on it, so you can strike it and actually extend your strike. I've had some that the lanyard is so short, you get down here and you just can't hardly strike the thing. So I like this one. It's got a little emergency whistle on it, though I'm not sure it's a really great whistle. See, not real loud. Certainly anybody that can hear that is going to be so close already that they can see you. You probably don't need the little whistle. Anyhow, so I've got 2 ignition sources in this kit. I've got my BIC lighter and I've got my Ferro Rod. Now, what do I have for fuel sources? So first thing I've got is I've got some of these little fire plugs here. These are really nice. I like these. These are from Campfire Tech or something like that. Uh, I really like these things, and they work really, really well. So what I'd like to do with them is first I take them and I'll cut them open. But you got to be really careful when you do this, by the way. You don't want to risk slicing your fingers. One of the things you've got to be very careful of, so I never push toward my fingers at all. You want to be very careful of when you're dealing with knives in the woods, is you don't want to cut your fingers, because if you cut your hand, not only do you open yourself up for possible infection, and there are lots of things in the woods that can cause an infection, but when you do that, you also damage your most important tool. And the most important tool you have available to you is your hands. Now I'm going to cut this in half because I'm going to demonstrate something to you, demonstrate how easily this thing lights. So you take half of it, and put the other half over here for right now, and we sort of break it up a little bit, expose those fibers, and put that knife down here, and we simply take our lighter, and what you can see is how fast this thing lights. Just like that. It's lit, and that thing is going to burn really, really well. Now, in addition, these things start really, really easily when you're using a ferro rod. Now, one of the things to do with that is to break up the fibers in this really, really well. And once you break up those fibers, you can simply take your ferro rod, and it'll take a couple of strikes sometimes. Sometimes it'll do on the first strike. Let's see. Not quite. Let's try the next one. There it goes. So you can see both of those light vary. Those little fire plugs are great, and honestly, you can start a fire with just half of one. So every one you have in your bag, I've got 5 left in this bag right here. So those 5 could light 10 fires for me if I needed to. In addition, what I've got is I've got a second fire source or fuel source, and my second fuel source is going to be my. Let me get these things out of the way. I'll just move them over here to the edge. The second fuel source I have is my homemade fire starters. I'll actually demonstrate this also. I've got a video on how to make these things. These are really wonderful little fire starters. They're basically cotton rounds that I dip in a mixture of paraffin and lamp oil, and then I'm able to use them to start fires really easily. So I'll break this one also in half and show you how easily this lights with each of my ignition sources. And you want to make sure that whatever you have as a tool ignites really well with the ignition sources that you have, because it doesn't do you any good to have a fire starter that will not ignite with your starter. So here we go with this. Well, look at how fast that lit. Now that lit fast because remember, that's made with a mixture of paraffin and lamp oil. So let's push that one off to the side. I got a lot of fire going on here. Okay, now the other thing, I'll take the other one and I'll light the other one with my ferro rod. And again, this is going to light really, really quickly. We just take our ferro rod and we just do a spark, and there it goes. I actually think my homemade ones light faster than the fire plugs do, but either one of those are great little fire starters, and they will burn for quite a while. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video and that it gave you some ideas for a mini fire kit of your own. Maybe you do yours differently than mine. I'd love to hear what kind of comments you have about it, what kind of things you would do a little differently. This is really small. It's got 2 ignition sources. It's got 2 fuel starter sources, and I think I could start a fire pretty much anywhere with this kit, and that's basically what it's for. Hey, look, I want to take just a moment to make a little patriotic message here. And that is that if you're watching this on the weekend that it comes out, this is 4th of July weekend, and we are celebrating the 250th anniversary of our country. And I remember the bicentennial in 1976, and I remember how excited the country was and how much energy there was and how much positivity there was. Here it is 50 years later, and the country is really different. We're divided more than we've ever been. We are more critical of our leaders. We don't trust our government. I'm not sure we ever trusted them fully, but we don't trust our government. We don't have a lot of positive hope for the future. A lot of people seem to think the American dream is dead. I don't believe that. I believe the American dream is alive and well. I don't define the American dream as having more money than your parents, or a bigger house than your parents, or more cars than your parents. I defend the American dream as living in a place where you have the freedom to be and to pursue the goals that you want to pursue, to be the person you want to be, to pursue the kind of life that you want to pursue. And if you're willing to put in the work, and you're willing to put in the time, and you're willing to learn the skills necessary, you can pretty much do anything you can in this country, and nobody's going to stop you from doing it. And that, to me, is the American dream that you can't do anywhere else in the world. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, do I think this country is absolutely perfect? No. Certainly throughout our history, we've got things that we'd rather not have done. We have things that we're not so proud of. But the beauty and genius of our Constitution and of our Founding Fathers' vision was that they set up a country that can change. They set up a country that can be changed, that can recognize its past failures and correct those. And I think that's what we've done gradually. Are we perfect now? Nope. We still got a long way to go, but you know what? That is part of the challenge, right? That's part of the journey. We're only 250 years old. We've made a lot of mistakes, and we're going to make more. But in the meantime, we can do everything we can to make things better and keep trying to get better. And that's the goal. You're never going to be perfect. The goal is to continue to try to get better. Just like your relationship with Christ. You're never going to get perfect like Christ, but your goal is to strive every day to be more like Christ. Just like our goal as a country is every day to be better than we were the day before. So let's put aside our differences. Let's celebrate the 250th anniversary of this great country, the greatest nation on the planet. Let's decide to work together instead of to work against each other. And let's talk, let's be civil, and let's be respectful. And I think we'll see a whole lot of positive things happen going forward in the future. Hey, if you like this video, I want you to click on the like button below. We'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 11,000 subscribers, certainly by the end of the month. But I'd love to get to even more than that, maybe 12,500 by the end of the summer. So click that subscription button, and when you do that, click the notification bell so that you'll be made aware when other videos come out, because if you like this one, you may like the others. I do a lot of fun stuff, and I'm not always perfect, I'm not always right, but I have a lot of fun doing things. So in the meantime, take a chance, go outside, stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day.